And that's why I like using the Lexington more than I use the Ouroboros. But if I need quick armor stacks, then I will switch to the Ouroboros. So both of these weapons are great because it makes the build versatile in terms of how to use Heartstopper. And we just one clipped that tank. I don't know if you guys seen that, but we just did. They're gonna die. One shot or one clip. The Lexington is nasty, man. We are one clipping these bosses. Look at that. Hold on. What's going on YouTube? It's AKingsCreation again, bringing you guys back another build video. We're going to talk about the Overdogs and Heartsbreaker combination. A lot of people have been talking about the Overdogs being really dominant right now, better than Tinkerer, some may say. I honestly don't really see too much of a difference between Overdogs and Tinkerer. I feel like it just depends on what you're using for Tinkerer combination, but they are both pretty much neck and neck as far as damage can go. So before we get into that video, let's go ahead and talk about the season changes in real life, man. I had to start wearing a Snuggie, man, because it's starting to get cold out there. Let me know if it's cold out there by you in the comments below. We are starting to head into that winter season. Honestly, it's my favorite season. I like to be cold rather than be hot. Let's go ahead and actually break down this build that we're talking about today. Okay, here is the build. Now, some of you guys have seen it earlier on with the Tinkerer setup, but we had changed it to the Overdogs because a lot of people are talking about you must have Overdogs in your build. Well, I'm here to tell you it really doesn't matter which one you use. You're going to clear the content regardless. All right, so we're using Technician Specialization. The only reason why we're using Technician Specialization instead of Gunner Specialization for the mods for the remote pulse is because we want that linked laser pointer. Now we are using the Lexington with the linked laser pointer and measured as a talent instead of streamline because we're going to be using our skills a lot. So we're going to switch out streamline for measured. The top half of the magazine has 25% rate of fire and negative 25% weapon damage. The bottom half of the magazine has 18% rate of fire and 30% total weapon damage. Now, we're pairing this with the Ouroboros because it's still the best in slot SMG for exotic, and it's maxed out. I have 30 expertise on it, and as well as my Lexington, I have 30 expertise. The talent for this is when the agent has status effect applied to them, 50% of the ammo in their next magazine will apply the same status effect to their targets. The modifiers are still the same for anybody who's going to ask me. I still have Sanitation, Rupert's Tier, Batter Up, and Stepping Stone. I'm still using the TDI card as a backup for extra skill tier if I want to, but I probably will not pull it out in any of the gameplay. Now we're going with the Fenris Group headpiece because we want additional damage on our assault rifle. I like to have more damage on my long range weapons versus my short range weapons. Not only that, the Ouroboros still does more DPS than the Lexington, but like I said, I wanted more damage on my Lexington for the longer range combat, right? So the Fenris Group gives you 10% assault rifle damage. I have critical hit chance and critical hit damage on it with a critical hit chance mod. Then we're going with the 4-piece Heartbreaker. Okay, most people already know this, but if you don't, Heartstopper headshots apply pulse for 5 seconds. That's why I always say aim for the head when you have Heartbreaker. That way you don't have to worry about trying to pulse them with a different weapon if you don't have the linked laser pointer on it. Weapon hits on pulse enemies adds a stack of 1% bonus armor and 1.1% weapon damage to pulse enemies up to 50 stacks, and 2 stacks are lost per second. With the backpack, we have an increase of bonus armor gained per stack of Heartstopper from 1% to 2%. So that's why we're going to get a lot of armor back when we are targeting enemies. All right, so we got critical hit chance and critical hit chance on this one. And then we're going to go ahead and talk about the exotic, the main butter of this build, which is Overdogs. It's got critical hit chance on it and critical hit damage as its stats. Any exotics, you can't really change the attributes too much. So that's why a lot of people like this, but a lot of people really like it because of its talent. Weakest link amplifies weapon damage by 30% to the lowest ranking enemies currently in combat as per the tier hierarchy. Tier 1, Hunter, Rogue, Leader, Tank, Shield, Heavy Weapons, RPG, Medic, Controller, Warhound, or Marauder. Tier 2 is support, engineer, bodyguard, immobilizer, bomber, mini tank, drone operator, and tier 3 is any other enemy. Okay, then we're going with the chest piece for the Heartstopper because we want to increase the max stacks from 50 to 100. So we increased the amount of armor we get from the backpack, and now we're also increasing the stacks from the chest piece, and that is pretty much it. Chest piece has critical hit chance, critical hit damage. The holster has critical hit chance, and the knee pads has critical hit chance. Now we're using the remote pulse. This will help us, especially when we're using the Ouroboros and we don't have time to aim for the head too much. We want to use the remote pulse. Let me go ahead and talk about it for a second. The remote is deployed at a set location and continuously pulses the nearby area for enemies and visually highlights them on the agent's HUD, right? So we want to continuously pulse the area non-stop, and that's why we have the remote pulse. That way we're continuously building up those armor stacks and damage. Then we're pairing it with the Crusader shield for the additional damage to enemies in front of you. You get a bonus 1% bonus damage and also 5% bonus damage because that's just the mods I have for this specific shield. Okay, so that is pretty much all of the parts of this build and attributes and modifiers, and we're going to talk about the stats real quick. We got 60% and 81 for the critical hit damage, and then we got 60% and 91 critical hit damage for our Ouroboros. Now what this is telling me is that I'm probably slightly overcapped on the critical hit chance, and what you want to go ahead and do if this is the case, if you see your build stuck at 60%, just go ahead and take off one of your critical hit chances and put on a critical hit damage and take a look and see where you're sitting at with that. Okay, so we're still over on the critical hit chance, so let me go ahead and fix these. I thought I already fixed this, but I guess I didn't, and that's perfect because what this is doing is also helping you to remember that if your build is at 60, make sure you double check to make sure that it is not at 60. All right, so we are gonna have to stick with 56% because if we put back on 6%, we'll be over 60% by 2, right? So with our Ouroboros, we're gonna keep this one at 60. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be overcapped with the Ouroboros because the Ouroboros, for those who don't know, the Ouroboros comes with 21% critical hit chance on top. So we're going to have a lot, but since we're going to mainly use the Lexington a lot, I want to have a good amount of critical hit chance for this. So just play with those numbers, and that way you're not overcapping. It's a very easy change. Just change out some of your mods, you know, to make sure any of them or attributes are not critical hit chance. Okay. Now, if you optimize the ones that are critical hit, like this one, I could change right now to critical hit damage, but I will be sacrificing my Lexington. Okay, showcase a full gameplay of this build. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, I decided to showcase a bounty instead. The retaliation is going to take too long, and that's not a big deal, but let's go ahead and showcase what we can do on a hyena bounty. I'm gonna go ahead and activate my sanitation, get them on fire real quick, just so I can get a little bit of pressure off of me. And kill this person right there. And where do we go from here? Right. All right, so we found the next area. I'm gonna go ahead and throw out the remote pulse, clear these guys out real quick. Should be easy. I'm using the Ouroboros because the Ouroboros has so much RPM that my stacks are going to, my armor stacks are going to increase more than the damage I'm taking, as you guys can see right here. Until I might get my shield back, then I'm going to get out of cover and use it and start running around. Now keep in mind, once your Heartstopper reaches the max bar, you're not going to gain any more health. So you want to make sure that you keep track of your Heartstopper bar and try not to use the Ouroboros too much because you don't want your armor stack to be at the max cap, or you'll be in a situation like I was just in. And that's why I like using the Lexington more than I use the Ouroboros. But if I need quick armor stacks, then I will switch to Ouroboros. So both of these weapons are great because it makes the build versatile in terms of how to use Heartstopper. And we just one clipped that tank. I don't know if you guys seen that, but we just did. All right. So that shows you how much damage we're doing with the Overdogs and the Lexington combined. Okay, moving on to the next area. I'm gonna throw my remote pulse out, and I'm gonna sanitize the area real quick because we have a whole bunch of bosses here. They're gonna die one shot or one clip. The Lexington is nasty, man. We are one clipping these bosses. Look at that. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Bosses do a lot of damage, so we want to start getting cover. He's immune for some reason, don't know why. Let's figure out why. This guy is immune. Why? I don't know why he was immune, but he was. All right. Anyways, there it is. He's one clipped as well. And there you have it. We are one clipped a tank, and we one clipped each one of the 3 bosses. So there it is. If you guys enjoyed this video breakdown, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. If you guys want to see me do a Retaliation gameplay, I'll just do a whole video on the updates with Retaliation and throw a gameplay in there. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll guarantee you I will do that for you. Till next time, I'll catch you later. Peace.